Hey guys, welcome to the Beautiful Disaster. So I've touched on a little bit of my story in some of my previous videos, but I was extremely abused for a very, very long time. Um, the earliest I remember, I was about 6 or 7. I think I've blocked out a lot of that before then. Um, and I don't know if it started before then or not. But anyway, my mom was the epitome of if mama ain't happy and nobody's happy. And my mom was very unhappy a lot. And she, had me at a very young age, and kind of blamed me for every bad thing that ever happened to her. Because if she hadn't had me, her life would have been different. Like that was my fault. But, you know, um, mentally, verbally, physically. She drank a lot. She had abusive husbands, and they would beat her up, and she would in turn beat me up. Um, we were forever getting snatched up in the middle of the night to go spend the night somewhere else because her husband had beat her up, or they were fighting, and she had left him somewhere and had to leave before he came home and beat her up. Or if, she was just unhappy and husband wasn't home, or especially in her single days, after her divorce, um, she, would sit around and stew on things, and she would drink, and, she would just come in my room in the middle of the night and just beat the fuck out of me for no reason, something that she had completely made up in her mind, or something that I had done wrong like a year ago, that just popped up in her head, and she decided, oh, let me go in here and just take out my anger on this poor little child who loves me more than anything. Um, and that's what we do. The people that we love the most, that we take them for granted, because we know they're going to be here. And my brother was a golden child. She loved him. He never got beat on, ever. She was too tired after she got done with me. I can laugh about it now because I'm healing from it. And that laugh right there just proves to me that, yeah, I'm getting past it. But, her best friend told me when my son was little, probably about 10 years ago, 12 years ago, that, my brother just had this spite. Like, he hated my mom from, like, birth. Like, he didn't even want my mom to hold him and stuff. Like, he would cry unless her best friend came over and she could hold him, and then he would be quiet. And so she was like, she knew you loved her, and she took advantage of that. She was like, but she was spent y'all's whole life trying to earn your brother's love. And that made sense. It made a lot of sense. Didn't make it any better. And the abuse didn't stop once I got grown. Like, she was very vindictive, very conniving, very manipulative. Um, you know, um, very, very hateful. Say extremely horrible, mean things. But when I was in school, home life was so bad, and I got beat on so much. And her favorite thing to say was, oh, she's just a fucking little bitch. Just a fucking little bitch. Just a fucking little bitch. That's all I ever was, just a fucking little bitch. And I was overweight. I wasn't very pretty. um, it was, and so I kind of embodied that whole she's just a fucking little bitch, and that's how I carried myself. That's how I carried myself around school, because I got fucked with so much at home that I wasn't going to get fucked with anywhere else. And I would fight, and I would cuss a motherfucker out in a heartbeat. And I'm not completely healed, and I'm not telling you that I won't still cuss a motherfucker out in a heartbeat, because I will. It depends on what the situation is. Messing with my kid, you're probably gonna get yourself in a situation you don't want to be in. You know, and my child, bless his heart, he triggers me more than anything. And you know, I'm learning to control that. But you know, at one point I realized that I had kind of turned into that same mom where, you know, when I was going through my ego death, my dark night of the soul, I was lonely. And so, you know, he's a teenager, he wanted to be in his room playing on his fucking PlayStation, talking to his friends, having fun. He didn't want to be in here watching me cry, you know, but I'm like, why can't you just spend time with me? You know, how do you think it makes me feel? I'm sitting in here all by myself. And then one day I'm like, the fuck is wrong with you? When I started healing and waking up and fixing my mind, and I'm like, your happiness is not his responsibility. That's stupid. And so now I make a point to tell him, you know, like, it don't have nothing to do with you. And oh my goodness, really? The neighbor's dog started barking at me. I guess I scared him. I live in an apartment complex. And then I'm on the bottom floor. So they're walking by, you know. But anyway, maybe that was confirmation for what I was saying. Like, who the fuck are you? You know? Like, shame on you. Let him be a kid. Let him go play with his friends, you know? Fix yourself. Learn to sit alone. And that was like, I had to learn that it was okay for me to be alone, because when I was growing up, if she wasn't beating the shit out of me, I was on restrictions and I was confined to my room, and I wasn't allowed to eat dinner with the family. I wasn't allowed to watch TV with the family, you know. Sometimes I was allowed to come out and eat dinner, depending on what kind of mood she was in when she got home from work. But most of the time it was a plate in my room. I was only allowed to come out and use the bathroom. And do chores before she got home. Laundry, dishes, all that stuff. The whole house that everybody had been messing up while I was confined to my room, I had to clean it up. And like, I seriously think my brother only had to take out the trash. And I don't know. I blocked out a lot of my childhood. So some things come and some things I can't remember. And I'm learning that the more I come to terms with the tragic, traumatic stuff, then the more of the good stuff I can remember. Because that's PTSD. Your brain stores and holds on to your traumatic stuff instead of your positives. I mean, your brain files away your positive stuff and keeps your traumatic stuff at the forefront as a defense mechanism, so you can be prepared to defend yourself at all moments and recognize threats. And, you know, it's really hard to come up in an abusive household with someone who is so bipolar and disconnected as my mom, and also be an empath and not understand what that even means. I didn't even know what that was until, you know, about 10 years ago, but I still didn't completely understand. Now I understand that I absorb those energies, and I have to get rid of them. But when you don't know, then you not only store your own traumatic events, but you store other people's trauma in your body too. And honey, let me tell you something. That's some deep shit. And you know, I know we have to go through these traumas to be strong, to be who we're meant to be be able to spread our message and help other people and be empathetic because that's how you gain empathy, is through experience. And I've experienced a lot. It's okay. These little dogs are so skittish. It's so funny. And for a long time, I just couldn't understand, like, why? When is the pain gonna stop? Well, the pain is gonna stop when you fucking say it stops. I've stayed here and stayed in this shit because I didn't know any better. I didn't have anybody. Well, I wasn't ready. It honestly took my mom having a stroke for me to, and losing her voice, and, for me to be able to really start waking up. Like, I've always had this need to just leave, go from here. But then, I always got pulled back with mom's manipulation. And, because I moved to Tampa, and, it was every other day, when are you coming home? When are you coming home? When are you coming home? So I finally came in and gave in and came home, and then, oh my word. So, my mom was an alcoholic. She tried to kill me when I was 13. She took a bunch of pills, drank a bunch of vodka, and had an adverse reaction and went completely batshit crazy. Accused me of having a consensual sexual relationship with her husband at the time. We were at the beach, and about 15, 20 miles from home. Maybe 10 miles from home. And I'm country, man. I don't do distance. I do time. Takes 10 minutes. Drive 5 minutes up the road, you'll see it. And anyway, she drove with one hand and beat my head into the side of the window the whole way to the house. She attacked me when we got home. And at one point she had me on my back and I was on the bed, and she was just beating the shit out of me. So I kind of, went into the fetal position and tried to put my, legs up in front of my face. And she bit me on the shin, literally to the bone. And my little brother, I think I was 12, 13. I think I was 13. I think it was it was Mother's Day. It was the week before my 14th birthday. And she left my room, and now mind you, we had just come back from the beach, so I was trying to get dressed, and I was literally just in a pair of shorts, and I guess it might have been a sports bra. I don't know if I even wore real bras at the time. I might have not even had a bra on. And she left, and I remember shutting the door behind her, and it was a trailer, so I don't know if you know, like a trailer built in the 70s, the doors were shit. Literally just a piece of paneling on a frame. So keeping her out was, impossible, but she came back with a butcher knife. And I started screaming, Dusty, run, 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 call the law, call the law, call the law, please God, run to the neighbors, go call the law, because she had taken all the phones out of the house. Because she was crazy like that. And she come behind me, and she put that butcher knife to my throat. And y'all had to negotiate with her. Mama, please don't kill me, please don't kill me. Mama, please don't do this, Mama, please. And the only thing that saved me was it clicked in her, where's your fucking brother? I So he left. He went to go call the law. And she said, you go get him back right now. She said, if you don't get him back, I'm going to slit your fucking throat from ear to fucking ear. And at that moment, she let me go. And when she did, honey, my little fat ass took off like a bat out of hell. And I run just as hard as I could to the end of the road. It's about 2/10 of a mile from my house down to the next neighbor's house that I knew. And it just so happened that that's where my brother was. And they had a big yard, and her daddy raised rabbits. And so he had a shed out back and a bunch of rabbit pens. And that's where they hid us until the law came. And I didn't remember this until I read the police report over the last summer. But I guess my mama had gotten in the truck and was looking for us and had got about to the neighbor's house when the law stopped her. And I guess she tried to hit the cop car with the truck. I remember they handcuffed her, but she was double jointed, so she could do that trick where she could put her hands in front of her and then pop her wrists and come out of the handcuffs. Well, she hadn't managed to, she was fucked up. So, Xanax a whole fucking bottle of Xanax and vodka and the sun all day long. And so, she managed to get her hands in front of her, and she kicked the cage out of the police car. And then they said that the police officer, he was a rookie, and he's still on the force today. I remember him, but he was a rookie, and he's 6'3", something like that. My mom's like 5'10", and she, in handcuffs, from standing on the ground, somehow managed to drop kick him in the chest with both feet, not just one, both. So they had to strap her to the bench like she was on a bodyboard and keep her restrained that day. Now I remember that from stories, but I didn't remember the part about them stopping her in the truck. So we went to live with my aunt. But y'all, I want y'all to know, I testified. My brother testified. Several other people testified. I got to go to the courthouse to get the complete records because the file was so big it can't all be put online. But this is where the system fails. It failed me. It failed my brother. She did 1 day in jail. Got credit for time served. And 3 years of probation. For aggravated assault with a deadly weapon on a minor child. Y'all tell me how the fuck that's fair. And when she completed her parenting courses through HRS, or DCF, or whatever the fuck you call it, we went back. She was with the same alcoholic abusive husband. She was going to AA. And thank God they didn't mind us coming to the AA house and sitting through the meetings. They actually welcomed us. And I lived my high school years through AA. And I think once I got out of high school, I got so lost and I stopped living through AA and just went crazy. And drugs and alcohol and, promiscuity and partying. I worked my ass off. I worked 2 jobs to support all my habits. But one of my aunts yesterday, today's my birthday and I'm 40. And you never would have convinced me that I was going to make it past 25. luckily I got pregnant with my son at 25, and that's what saved me. And I have no doubt in my mind. You know, I tell him all the time, like, God had been thumping me on the forehead and saying, hey, get it together, get it together, get it together. And I wouldn't pay attention. So finally he just says, smack, and just high fived the shit out of me with that kid. Like, bitch, you gonna pay attention. And it still took me 13 years to completely wake up after that. And I'm not fully awakened yet. I'm still learning. But what I do know is that the reason that through all of that abuse, my little heart still tries to see the best in everyone is because that's my purpose, to love and be loved. And I just realized I've been sitting here talking to y'all, and I got to go get my little nephews off the bus.